And now we have entered the zone that Mike affectionately calls
the Auto Zone.
The Terrible Twos, everybody.
I thought we would change the name now to The Bottom Line.
Now, see, you're right. The Terrible Twos are the final two questions within the bottom line. This is
the bottom line. That's all there is to it. There's these two last questions which make up the bottom line.
This is the section called the bottom line. And here are the Terrible Twos.
The bottom line, question one.
All right. Question number one. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, what would you give the first episode of Tales from the Loop?
I think I would give it maybe 7.6.
Okay. 7.6, not
7.6. Just to let Roz know that you can do increments of 0.1.
I was planning on already.
Ooh.
Yeah. Good. And so 7.6, I guess I enjoyed it. Like I said, I like that kind of cool old school science fiction story. I wasn't similar to Ryan. I'm sure I wasn't gripped from start to finish, but I definitely felt the emotional journey, and I definitely at the end maybe had a tear. I'm not 100% sure, but there may have been a piece of water dripping down my face from my eye.
A slice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. That's weird. Roz,
I think it's normal.
then I'm outnumbered. It's normal.
Ryan's dead inside, so of course he wouldn't feel anything. So.
I sure am.
It's a
Roz.
natural response. I would say 8.75.
Wow.
I'm saying that. Yeah,
I knew
we're
she was going to go to the
100th.
100th. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. That's why when Mike said you can do this, I was like, this girl's already she's way ahead.
I'm already there. I say that. I say 8.75 because, like I said before, a lot is said without being spoken in this. And I think even more can be said without being spoken. And I think that would shave off about 10 minutes. And our impatient viewers would give it more of a chance that way. That's the last patient joke. That's the last, because my patience is dwelling too. So that's the last.
We should do the rest of this podcast by saying things unsaid as well. Just be like.
But the first thing that needs to be said from you, Ryan, is what you give it from 1 to 10.
You are not being very patient, Michael. So scale of 1 to 10. 6.7. I'm going to give it generously.
Wow, I was going to say that's from what you've said about it so far. That is a generous score from you.
I'm talking objectively speaking. I'm not talking about specifically on a Ryan scale of how much he likes something. I'm just saying objectively speaking, I think I give it a 6.7. I think that it didn't quite accomplish what it set out to do. Whatever its mission statement was, I don't think it quite accomplished that, but I think it did enough to represent, their theme or their objective. It's okay. But now the real question is, the second terrible two is, for the purposes of this podcast, we had to watch the first episode of Tales from the Poop. Now, the podcast is over, and we are free to do whatever we want with our time. But Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, would you watch the second episode of your own volition?
Yeah, I would. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to because my wife wasn't that into it, but maybe if I had to sneak away and watch it on my own somehow. But yeah, I think I would. I'm interested. Like I said, I love these cool old school science fiction stories, and I'm interested to know more about the Loop. I don't know that we're necessarily going to find out that much more about anything, but we're gonna have some more cool stories. So that's for sure.
Roz, Elena, Stanley. What about you? Would you watch the second episode?
I think it was fate, and I'll probably keep my Amazon Prime membership because of this show.
Wow.
I would.
Now that is how they get you.
Yeah, that is how they get you.
Now,
yes, it is.
Boy, oh boy, did they ever get you there.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch the next episode, and I'd like to watch the rest of the season. I think it's 8 episodes. I think it's a shorter season. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see what else happens and what evolves out of this story.
Tell you what, Jeff Bezos right now is cackling with his cigar. Got another one.
Yeah,
Boy, oh
Jeff
boy.
Bezos. My Instagram is in the description below, by the way.
Very nice. Now, as for me, would I watch the second of my own volition? What are we laughing at already? I feel like in the... No.
You know what? You don't need to say it. So much is said without being said, Ryan. You got it.
We know. Come on. We know your answer.
I like the concept, and I like the world, and I think it's brilliant, and I really want it to do well. And I'm interested in seeing how it goes. But I just don't think the execution or the quality were quite there to make a loyal viewer out of me, I think.
Ryan's just going to go on Wikipedia and read the description of each episode, and then he'd be like, oh, I know what happens.
That's what I would do, honestly, if I was super curious but didn't want to watch the rest. I feel like I did do that one time with the show, was I was curious, but I'm like, I can't watch 7 seasons. Let me just find out what happens. So it's a no from me.
What? Shocking.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but I think probably like one day you'll just sit down and watch episode 2 out of nowhere. You'll be like, let's do this and not tell anybody. I think that's what's going to happen.
I don't think he's going to.
You know, to bring it back a previous bottom line, when we did what was that show? The Umbrella Academy. I had a similar feeling, although I liked Umbrella Academy more, and I thought the execution was better, but it was very close for me in that I was very interested in knowing what happened, but I wasn't very interested in watching it because it created a mystery at the end. At the end of the first episode, there's this big mystery that you got to find out. But it's like, if they tell me the answer in the second episode, I'll watch it. But if you just have to wait for a whole season to get the answer to that mystery, it's not worth it. So I think I said I would not watch the second episode, right? For that reason, just because I was worried that they wouldn't tell us the answer. But then one day I was like, you know what? Let me just put it on while I'm brushing my teeth or something, just have it on just in case they give me the answer to that mystery that I want to know. Wouldn't you know it? Or I put it on while I was working. So I was just kind of listening to it, which this show, if you put it on while you're working and just listen to it, you'll have no idea what's happening because it's all in actions. There's hardly anything said. So that's what I mean. You have to really, that's why I said at the beginning, you have to actively watch it. You can't put it on and check your email or go brush your teeth or whatever. You have to be like this. You have to be involved. Anyway, the Umbrella Academy, I listened to the second episode. They didn't give me any information. Listened to the third episode. Didn't give me any information. Done. Bye. Anyway, that's how I feel about that.
Sounds like a listener.
All right. So, thank you for joining us today. This has been another episode of Watch the First.
Okay.
WTF.
So anyway, yeah, just tell us in the comments below whatever you want us to watch. Watch the first Robotech. Watch the first He-Man.
Ryan
Watch the
loves
first
80s cartoons. by the way.
Bionic 6. Watch the first Transformers. WTF Transformers, we should say. Anyway,
there's a show. There's a cartoon. What is it? Not DuckTales.
Animaniacs.
It has Baloo. No, Baloo the bear, but it's not Jumanji.
Tailspin.
Tailspin. Yes. Watch the first Tailspin.
Yeah, but you have to write it in the comments. Sorry.
Oh, you know what I was
I'll
thinking?
write it.
You know what I was thinking today, Michael? I think it would be fun if we do at the end ask the guest, what show would you like us to watch? We're not beholden to it, but it'd be interesting to know what they think.
That's a great idea, Roz, that you just had.
Thank you for taking my idea, Ryan.
She's psychic.
Anyway, I would love to have you guys watch the first for Tailspin, the original Power Rangers, and Saved by the Bell.
That's a lot of greeds, considering we said watch one show.
Well, a list, if you will.
Okay, duly noted. That's
Tailspin it is. Got it.
Oh, it's so good.
So we like to close it out by saying this podcast was contentious.
This podcast was illuminating.
This podcast was an eclipse.
Okay. We should have been like, this podcast was like 3 separate stories connected by the Zoom, Tales from the Zoom.
This podcast was ostensibly sentient.
Yeah.
This podcast was patient.
So we'd like to thank everybody for joining us and for hitting the bell icon and for subscribing and commenting in the comment section below. That's not just in the live chat, but in the comment section below me.
Did you say like? Hit the thumbs up like.
Very important.
Don't hit the thumbs down. Or if you do hit the thumbs down, hit it again so it just negates
it twice. Yeah. Roz, thanks so much for joining us and making us laugh and being so cool and psychic.
Thanks for having me, guys. I am very psychic.
And wearing a 1985 Whitney Houston pattern.
Woo!
Love
Yes.
Anyway, we like to close this out with Michael Rosenberg teaching us a lesson and saying this.
Don't forget to watch the first of things. Freeze frame.
Yeah, just watching Roz go like, is that it? Was that the whole thing?
Is that it?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Oh, phew. Anyway, thanks very much. We'll see you next time, guys.